Welcome to Tales from the Street. Here's what our narrator has to say. I saw the video of that Chrisland girl's mother online. As a mother, I felt sad for her, especially when I read that they suspended her daughter. But something in me said, the children we are raising these days are wiser than us, their parents. I said wiser because that is what they think of themselves. A few days after, when I saw the video of the small girl that was said to have been raped, I said, oh, these children will not kill us. So this is what my own daughter did to me too. How I wish the girl's mother had just kept quiet and sought help for her child, because now we all know the girl isn't the little innocent the mother thought she was. I am not judging, no. But anyone who saw the video and everyone who has seen it say the girl isn't the little innocent as we think. My own daughter did the same shege to me. Children these days, forget them. They can fool you into the well and cover you up and not even blink. If I have an opportunity to talk to the girl's mother, I'll just tell her to keep quiet. She should learn from me. A few years ago, my daughter, she's my niece actually. Her mother died a long time ago, and I have raised her since she was 6 years old. So she's my child. She was just 15 when this incident happened. I sent her to one of these model colleges in Lagos State. She was in boarding school. That school didn't even allow phones or any of these yama that private schools allow. They are like these old unity colleges of our days. That's why I thought she would be well disciplined and focus on her studies. She was in SS1. They were resuming that day. And when they resumed school, the school insists they return in their housewares. This was way before COVID, when parents and relatives were allowed to follow the returning students into their hostels and help them settle in. That day, I went to drop my daughter in school. Of course, she was in her green check housewear. I went with my son, who helped her carry her box and bucket to the front of her hostel. I was at the bursar's office, settling the outstanding fees and showing receipts for other payments I had made for books. You know, that sort of thing. My son came back to meet me on the queue at the bursar's and said his sister was settled in. They call each other brother and sisters, even though they are cousins. But anyway, by the time I finished, because there were lots of parents and guardians who had come to settle financial issues with the bursar, it was late. So I told my son to tell his sister I would come visit in 2 weeks' time. I also couldn't even see her before leaving because it was around 6:30 p.m. and the bell was ringing for students to go into their hostels for head count. The school always did head counts every evening, and especially upon resumption. Many of the students still loitering around the premises ran into the hostel to be counted. When we left that day, I thought I had done my job as a mother. 3 days later, that was on a Wednesday, I was called by my daughter's house mistress asking for my daughter. I said, huh? What are you talking about? She said my daughter hadn't resumed school and that she was wondering what had happened to her. I said, Haba, are you dreaming? I brought her to school on Sunday. She resumed with the rest of her mates on Sunday. House mistress said my daughter hadn't been seen in school for 3 days, and though her bed was always made, she hadn't been physically seen. I almost ran mad as I raced to the school that day. My mind was in a turmoil. I drove her to school myself, and she was checked into the hostel by the house mistress's assistant. Where could she be? We got to the school. Lo and behold, upon speaking to me and realizing something was off, the house mistress had summoned my daughter's close friends to her office. She wanted to know who had been laying her bed and fooling her staff. Because you see, a laid bed means the child is around, right? So they had been laying her bed, making the hostel staff believe she was around. Empty beds or unlaid bed meant the child hadn't returned to school. So she called 3 of my daughter's closest friends and asked them where my daughter was. They didn't tell her. They kept silent. But she delivered well-intended backhand slaps, and they began to confess like witches. She then took them to the principal's office. That was where I met them. The girls were still crying when I got there. They confessed that my daughter had met one boy on Facebook who invited her to come visit him at one hotel. He called her the following day to meet him at a certain place outside the school gate. Unfortunately for us, they didn't know the name of the hotel. They said when I dropped her in school, dressed in school wear, she had gone into the hostel and changed to mufti. I had no idea she packed mufti in her bag because, you see, I packed the box myself. I did so not because I even suspected she would go to school with contraband. The school allows provisions, but there are certain items they forbid, like phones. They check their boxes upon resumption. So I packed her box because when she packed the box, it was all jumbled up. I had to remove everything and repack neatly. And it was in my presence her brother dragged the box into the car. So you see, these children can fool you. Anyway, that's how we began to look for my daughter. From hotel to hotel, we begged, we searched. Some proprietors allowed us to search. Many said they didn't have anyone that looked like her as guests. We went with her photo. And oh yes, we went first to the police before I began searching with my son and another relative of ours. For 2 days, we got nothing. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat because I believed in my heart my child had been deceived by some monster she saw on the internet. But my child isn't the little innocent I thought she was at all. Ashe, she had been chatting with this man and agreed to come and visit him. She changed to mufti in the evening and went out of the school gates disguised as a cleaner in the school. Meanwhile, as far as I knew, she had no phone. I didn't buy her a phone because I just couldn't afford it. I gave her an old one I had used before, but she said to me that it couldn't do internet, and so she dropped it. I had no idea she had another phone. Do you know how we found her? On Friday, early in the morning, around 5:30 a.m., the evil boy she went to meet, dumped her naked in front of the school gates. Yes, he had raped her, used her. It was a pitiful sight. She had red blotches all over her body. There were many boys who raped her over and over again for 5 days. She was barely alive when they dumped her at the school gate. Maybe they had heard police was looking for her. I don't know. The gate man said he heard a sound like someone crying feebly at the gate. He opened the gate and saw a naked girl. That was my own child. The child I sent to school, telling myself she was safe in school. I could swear my daughter was well behaved. Quiet, didn't even go out when on holidays. Many times I forced her to go do some deliveries for me. She preferred being indoors and watching TV. When they identified her as their student, she was able to say her name before she fainted again. They called me. I went to the school and took her straight to a nearby hospital. They admitted her and began to treat her. A few days later, when she had regained her strength, she told me what happened. She was begging me and crying that she had learned her lesson and would never deceive me again. I couldn't even scold her because seeing her condition, I knew she had suffered enough. Her punishment was all over her body. She suffered several lacerations on her vagina, one broken rib. She said they were beating her as they raped her. Her face was badly swollen, red with blood. Her hands and feet were tied during the act. I knew a great lesson had been learned. What else was there to say to her? She spent 3 weeks in the hospital, after which the school suspended her for 1 term. Oh, I don't blame the school. The story had gone round that she was setting a bad example. She herself saw hell that period. Walking and urinating was hell for some time. Thankfully, she didn't get pregnant because that would have meant the end of her school entirely. But I thank God again. I thank God today. I made her go back to finish school. But she was ashamed and didn't want to go back. I said, what did you say? She repeated. But it was just 1 year, and she was just 1 year behind her mates. and she was determined to do better. Sometimes experience really is the best teacher. Now my daughter mentors younger girls and advises them against online predators and not telling their parents where they were going. Today, I'm proud of my daughter. Yeah, we both fucked up, but like that musician said, Black Sharif, of course I fucked up. Who never fucked up? Hands in the air. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.